All right, so back to this disc. I got all my parts in this week, and I'll show those to you here in just a minute. I got this dug out of the snow, and actually I got the gang reassembled until I realized I reassembled it incorrectly. Goal for today is basically to get the gang back on here. Basically attaches to this frame right here in 3 spots, 1, 2, and then 3. And then I'm going to put the spring back on this fold down or foldable wing here. And so you can see kind of how it attaches over here. Sorry for the wind. You can see you drop those bolts and stuff. So that is how it attaches, and you can also see the older style, or no, those are newer style bearings in there. So yeah, those are new style bearings. I guess this was, I hadn't looked at this disc during the daytime in a long time. But oh, that's an old style. And then that's a newer style bearing. Hopefully you can see that. And that's a newer style bearing. And then same with these. These are all newer style bearings. And these all turn just fine. They need to be greased, but they turn just fine. And then back here we have an older hub, older, newer, older, and then newer and newer style. And I'll show you the difference in those as I put it back together. So let's go in the shop and I'll show you all the parts that we got and how we had to modify this. All right, so here's everything assembled. So, well, not assembled, but here are all the parts. We already have the new bearings on the supports. So what I've done in the last week, or let me start back over. One of the concerns I had was the fact that our new bearings here are considerably more narrow than our old bearings. Because remember, the old bearing housing was almost 3 inches wide, and these new bearings are considerably narrower. They're about 1.6 inches wide. Well, if you look in the parts catalog for this disc, originally it came with this hub right here. And then in 1964, they switched to a longer hub. Well, this hub right here is 1 inch longer than this hub right here. If you put them, I don't know if you can see that, but basically side by side. This 1 inch basically takes up the inch and a half of distance across the entire disc, or the gang of slop that you would have if you just replaced, or if you replaced the bearings and I didn't have the new hubs, because then you'd be short on distance. So that's what we've done. I actually got this whole thing assembled earlier this week, one evening. Had a friend helping me, and then we realized that I actually put the bearings on the wrong side of the supports. So that was a bit disappointing. One thing I did do, and this was really off camera, is I went ahead and there were a couple minor cracks in here. I went ahead and I welded those up. Well, I ground them out and then welded them up and then primed it, just to protect them from rust, etc. But I think instead of trying to reassemble the entire gang as a unit, what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to assemble, basically I'm going to take the first support, put the first support on there along with the arbor and that last disc, and then I'm going to assemble the disc by disc, hub by hub, and go out until I get to the next support, and then put the next support on there. Because frankly, trying to get that entire gang up on the disc was a royal pain. And because there are some distance concerns in terms of the bearing supports and stuff, I've got some concerns there, but this will allow me to get it up on there, and I can do it piece by piece instead of trying to kill myself with ratchet straps and chains and everything. So that's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to go ahead and get the disc a little bit closer to the front of the shop with the tractor. That way, I'm a little bit more protected from the wind than it is right now sitting on the driveway. And then we'll start putting it together, and hopefully we'll get it put together, and then we can get it sold, get it out of here. So let me get set up to do all that. Let me get the disc moved around, and we will put it together. All right, one thing I did do is I would go ahead and get all new hardware. I figured new hardware would be very beneficial. All right, I'm gonna get to the next one, to the next support, and then I'll turn the camera back on just so you're not having to watch me huff and puff and do all this. All right, I got everything just kind of loosely in there. Now we need to put the end of the gang on. So I've got a couple more pieces to put on. We've got our last hub. We have our last disc. End piece, which is new, fold over lock, and then nut. It looks like it'll all fit. So now what I need to do is I need to go get my 1 5/8" socket, and I use the impact to push everything on, and then I can tighten these bolts down, these mounting bolts down. So I've got my 24-inch pipe wrench holding one of the hubs, so the arbor doesn't turn, and we'll just tighten her down. Make sure everything's tight, all the joints are tight. All the joints appear to be tight. It spins. That's good news. I think I'm going to hit it one more time and then we'll call it good. All right. So that's good. Now I can go through, and I got a couple I wasn't able to put the lock washers on, but now I can go through and tighten some of those up, get them at least sucked up to the frame, and I can go through and tighten the ones, put the lock washers that are missing. So I'm gonna go work on that, and then we can put the scraper bar on. I don't know if my battery's gonna get me to the end, but now we can do the fold over lock. And next thing we got to do is put the scraper bar on. But the scraper bar is pretty easy. Pick the camera up here because my battery's got like 10% left in it. Basically, I got to put the scraper bar and lock it into that bolt hole, and then the bolt hole in the last support. So overall, I think this project's done, and hopefully I can get this disc sold here pretty quick. So I don't know if this was all that nice of a video or series, but hopefully somebody learned something with it for these older discs. You know, bearing changes aren't that bad. A little bit of effort, a little bit of physical effort. All in all, I think I have, between all the new hardware and everything, somewhere around $200 in this gang right here, and that includes the new hubs and the part and the bearings and the outside arbor bolt and the fold over lock and everything. So yeah, got questions, comments, leave them below. If not, thanks for watching.